God had shown that miracles still happen. And understand, it was not a miracle to God because he saw. I told you, God is sovereign. He can do what he wants to, when he wants to do it. It was a miracle in the eyes of the people because God was not an ordinary fixture in their lives. You see, when God's presence is in your life, you know that he's there. You'll acknowledge who God is. Listen, you won't call anything a natural occurrence or a freak of nature. You won't say something told me when you know it was God and God alone. He already said, I am the Lord. That is my name. And my glory I'll not give to another. He's going to work it out and still show you a miracle. Watch the text this morning. Watch how it worked out. When the prophets of Baal tried to get fire to come down and burn up the bull, we already know it did not work. Why is that, preacher? It didn't work for man because God was not in the plan. And because God was not in the plan, the false prophets were shut down. Listen, church, God will shut down what you're doing if he's not involved. When your way didn't work out, when your idea did not fly, if the backup plan for the backup plan fell through, simply know God will shut some stuff down so God can rise up. You can try all you want to. You can get all the recommendations for days. Pull out every carnal idea you can think of. You can brainstorm if you want to. You can politic, you can network, you can have meeting after meeting. But if my God isn't in it, it will shut down. When it gets shut down, that's when my God steps up. Watch the text in verse 30. Elijah took the altar that was already destroyed. Nothing could be done with it. But Elijah, through my God's direction, rebuilt it because he knew God can make a miracle even out of man's mess. And when God is at work, when God is up to a miracle, he won't use man's stuff, but he'll use his own stuff. You don't want to use what God gave you? Fine. God can still use it. You think he's too old. You think she's too broke down. You think it's past that time. It's right on time for God. I'm so glad to know it doesn't matter how old you are. You can still be used by God. By the altar being rebuilt by my God, he was simply taking away every possible excuse, every possible angle by man, so that his power would be seen that day. I want God to arise and my enemies to be scattered. Look what my God did at the altar, Asbury. After the altar was rebuilt, God instructed Elijah to pour water on the bull. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. And listen, there was a lot of water, the text says. The water was on the bull, it was on the altar, it was even on the floor. So from man's eyes, there was no way in the world fire would come down and consume a water-filled altar. But don't forget, water is a cleansing tool, Asbury. It will wash away the impurities of life and get ready for what will be. God simply had to cleanse all those earthly elements, those earthly distractions, get them out of the way and get ready for what will be. For today, God and God alone will get the glory. I just want to let you know, Asbury, today, God is cleansing situations. God is pouring water all around your life. It's not going to drown you, but it's going to get you ready for what will be. He's pouring on situations so that folk will know it was God and God alone who did it. God did it and nobody else. No health insurance, but you still got healed. God did it. No one knew you, but the job got yours anyway. God did it. You should have lost your mind years ago, but you still got joy. God did it, and nobody, a barrier after barrier, looked to be in your way, but God is pouring buckets of water in your situation. He's going to bring you out anyway. You must have forgotten, Asbury, no weapon formed against me. Not your politics, not favoritism, not demonic tactics. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. I'm a child of the King. He's getting me ready for what will be. After Elijah set up the altar, poured 3 large jars of water on the bowl, he then called on God. He knew who to call on and when to call on. See, right here, Asbury, the prophet just let me know you got to do what God told you to do in order to hear from God. What are you doing so God can hear you? Are you praying like you should? Have you forgiven your enemies and truly mean it? Are you offering a true praise? Are you giving God authentic worship? Or are you just going through the motions on Sunday morning? What are you doing so God can hear you? And as the best part of the text shows us, when Elijah called out to God the right way, the good news is, Asbury, God did answer him. Verse 38 shows us when the fire actually came down. Not only did the fire consume the offering, it consumed the bull. It also consumed the wood. It consumed the stones. It consumed the dust and even licked up the water that was around the bull. Listen, that blesses me because when God comes to fix your situation, He'll consume everything you got and still give you a miracle. Listen, every valley shall be raised. Every mountain and hill will be made low. He'll make the crooked places straight and the rough places smooth. And the glory of the Lord will fill this place. A miracle can still happen. After the miracle happened, Asbury, the text says, the people could do nothing but turn on their faces and say, the Lord, He is God. When He works a work, I told you, when God gives you a miracle, when He makes a way out of no way, just go ahead and praise Him and say, the Lord, He is God. And the same way God made His presence known and delivered a miracle on the mountaintop, I just stopped by to tell you, my God wants to make His presence known in your life. Not just on Sunday morning at 11 a.m., but all the days of your life. Oh yeah, there's nothing else, Asbury. You got to know this morning that He's real. There's so much mama and grandmama can tell you. There were so many sermons you can hear for yourself. But there's so many songs Sister Harris can teach you to sing. But after a while and by, you got to know Him for yourself. I don't understand how some folk dare to say God's not real. How dare you say He's not real? He woke me up this morning and started me on my way. He kept me in my right mind. He allowed me to keep moving every step of the way. You must don't know I'm not where I used to be. So I thank God for where I am right now. How dare you say there is no God? If there is no God, I shouldn't be sitting in the church right now. I should have been dead, sleeping in my grave. How dare you say there is no God? He's been better to me than I've been to myself. How dare you say there is no God? He's the one who put the universe in motion. He separated the weather with winter, summer, spring, and fall. He choreographed the human body and divided up the body by nerve endings, muscles, bones, blood, and flesh. How dare you say, there is no God? I know him for myself, and I know he's real. There is a God. Listen, Asbury. Matter of fact, the great theologian Thomas Aquinas even gave us the 5 proofs or the 5 reasons for the existence of God. Hold on, Sister Harris, they got to hear this one. He said God exists, number 1, because things in the world are in motion. Simply meaning there is constant change happening that man himself cannot create. Watch this. Rain fell from the sky last night. Rocks rolled down into valleys. The earth revolves around the sun. Don't you know man can't do this? Only God and God alone. There's nobody greater than him. Second thing he said is the idea of causation. We simply call that cause and effect. One event, the effect is explained by the influence of another. The cause. That's why it's called cause and effect. Everything that we see in this world, the effect is brought on by God, the ultimate cause of everything. The third thing is the existence of contingent beings. He was pointing out how in the earth there are human beings. That's us. But don't you know this world, this earth can exist without us. We are an option. But since we're here, there must be a creator of human beings. Whether you like human beings or not, whether they're going to help to you or not, every human being has a creator. And he is the great I am. The fourth is human values. We are God's finest creation. We have the ability to discern truth, goodness, and nobility. Where do all these things come from, Pastor Whipple? Well, they come from God and God alone. And the godliness that abides in you is nothing but the God in me. And the fifth and final proof of the existence of God comes with the world famous teleological argument. Preach, Pastor Whipple. Okay, listen up. That is to understand that God is the source of everything that we see, and beside him there is none other. The earth is the Lord's, and the fullness thereof, and they that dwell therein. And if you didn't get any of that, Asbury, if it was above your head,